today to thank my colleagues in the U.S. Senate and countless others across the country for their outpouring of support and offers of assistance to my state of Alabama in this time of need. On April the 27th, this last week, an unprecedented tornado system struck the state of Alabama, claiming hundreds of lives and destroying thousands of homes and businesses. At last count, 236 people in Alabama alone were dead, with thousands more injured and a lot missing. Madam President, it will take many years and potentially billions of dollars for my state to fully recover from this catastrophic disaster. We have received calls from my fellow senators, many of whom recently experienced destruction in their own states due to floods and deadly storms, for help. To those who have reached out, I want to offer my sincere gratitude on behalf of the people of Alabama. I also want to thank President Obama and FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate for their swift response and commitment to restoring our state. Their words of encouragement to disaster victims during their visit to Alabama help ease the grief burdening local families. And their work with Governor Robert Bentley and Alabama Emergency Management Director Art Faulkner has provided vital assistance during these difficult times. This continued level of federal coordination is critical to ensuring that Alabama gets back on its feet as quickly as possible. Madam President, I have never in my life seen such devastation to the extent that I saw during my visit to my home state of Alabama recently. Giant oaks lie flattened and splintered. Homes throughout the state were demolished, leaving thousands homeless and reliant on the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, and others for shelter. At one point last week, over 1 million Alabama residents were without power, almost a quarter of the state's population. It was gut-wrenching to walk through scattered rubble and realize it was once the site of someone's home or someone's business. Madam President, the scale and the magnitude of destruction can only be described as hell on earth. And in our state, while larger cities like Birmingham and Tuscaloosa, my hometown, suffered extensive damage, so did other rural areas. Communities like Pratt City, Pleasant Grove, Concord, Rainsville, Hackleburg, Coleman, and many others also incurred the wrath of the storm system and are now trying to assess the extent of their damage. In DeKalb, Marion, and Franklin counties alone in my state of Alabama, we have seen nearly 100 deaths. Virtually every part of the state was touched by storms, and all of us were affected. The pain and loss that families are experiencing are still fresh. Many remain in shock. However, we must also recognize that my state of Alabama was not the lone victim of the storm. As we continue our cleanup and recovery efforts, so do the people of Tennessee, Mississippi, Georgia, Virginia, Louisiana, and Kentucky. Our thoughts and prayers are with all the affected states. We stand willing and able to assist you as you have offered similar support to us in Alabama. Madam President, I want to take a moment to reassure the people of Alabama and all the affected states that we will do on a federal level everything we can to restore life as it was before. My staff and I are working with the state, FEMA, and the other federal agencies to ensure as quick and efficient a recovery as possible. Thousands of Alabamians have opened their homes, donated supplies, clothes, made contributions, and rushed to help in any way they could. And after witnessing the selfless generosity of complete strangers and the sheer resilience of those affected by the storms, I have never been more proud to call Alabama my home. I'm convinced that together we can overcome this terrible tragedy, and we